Dr. Mark here from Natural Health. Hope you're having a great evening. We even got started on time again. That's a great thing for us. Um, Tonight we're talking about sugar and this whole month actually, but tonight kind of the hidden, why avoid sugar, the hidden concerns, because sugar is kind of sneaky. So just as a review, Natural Health Chiropractic Center, we've been in business now for over 40 years, doing nutrition and chiropractic work, working basically on a natural way of helping the body to be well, a different healthcare paradigm where we're looking at underlying causes of problems rather than just chasing symptoms. So that's why this sugar thing is so important for us, because it is the underlying cause of a lot of problems, which we'll see here in a little bit. So we'll get into the ideals here. So the names for sugar, right now this is an older list. There's 78 different names for sugar, and that is because people like sugar. I mean, it's something that people, we have a taste for sugar. We're going to talk about that a little more in a little bit. But the manufacturers know that people don't like the word sugar on the label, so they've got all these different names now for sugars. And so it's just a way of confusing people. And many people will look at a label and the sugar word will not be on there. But 2 or 3 or 4 of these other names will be on there. And the American sweet tooth has gotten so bad that most manufacturers have to put some kind of sugar even to compete with other manufacturers to make things really sweet. We see that a lot in our office here, and as we get people off the sugar, get them on eating real foods, they notice their sweet tooth getting less and less and less. They're not craving all this stuff. The more sugar you eat, the more you want. It acts like a drug. It's a processed thing, and we'll talk about that as we go right into the pure cane sugar. So it was very interesting today. I had one of my younger patients come in and said, "Yeah, I read this paper that people in this country where they have sugar cane, where eating sugar cane and their teeth are actually healthy." And I was telling them that that's true, because sugar in the cane has all the minerals and things with it, and all the fiber and all that with it. What the problem is, they take the sugar cane or sugar beets or whatever source, they process that all and end up with the pure, unadulterated just sugar, just the glucose or the sucrose, and most of the sugars are sucrose. So what that does is you have something that in nature isn't that bad, but when you take it and process it out, you remove all the minerals and vitamins and cofactors, coenzymes, and the fiber that's supposed to go with it. So, I mean, people like the taste, and it's very easy to work with this kind of sugar, but the problem is that your body has to use the stores of minerals and vitamins and cofactors and proteins and enzymes to utilize it. The body wants the sugar, it likes the energy, and we have a system to use glucose in our bodies to burn for energy, but once you keep doing that over and over and over for a long period of time, not even so long sometimes, you're actually robbing all the nutrition out of the body, and other factors, other functions of the body start to go amiss. That is becoming the underlying cause. Now, if you're in mainstream, you wait for that to happen, and then you prescribe a medication for that symptom, whatever symptom that person's having, even like diabetes or heart disease or whatever else. But in our world, we want people to try to understand what they can do to prevent all that stuff. Not that you could never have it ever again, it's that you have to realize, back in, late 1800s, 1900s there, I mean, we didn't have very much sugar, so people, when they had sugar, they had like a dessert once in a month or once in a year, a can of soda maybe or something like that, once a year. But as we got into this more, and sugar is more readily available, and people has income more higher, well, pretty soon you're drinking soda with every meal, you're having dessert after every meal, and maybe a sugary dessert in the middle of the morning, middle of the afternoon, and something before bed, a snack before bed. And then pretty soon you're eating 200 and some pounds of sugar. I can't remember what the average is per year that it's worked up to, but it's an incredible number of how much refined sugar people are eating. I want to make the distinction too right away, and you kind of caught that, but the refined sugar, it's a different animal than the sugar in foods. Now, if you're watching your weight, you're still wanting to be careful with the sugar in foods, because that's just a carb, and that the body can make fat out of that. But that's a different sugar than the refined stuff. Same way with refined salt. white salt has all the minerals taken out of it. Nothing wrong with mineral salt or sea salt, but the refined stuff causes trouble. So as we get into all the foods, we know these foods are out there and they taste very good. And I like to point out that this picture is especially bad because not only are you getting the refined sugars, you're getting all the bad colorings, that nuclear waste blue that they use on those things, and then the fried in bad oils glue. I mean the donut, the cake. So this is donuts are just a terrible thing to get a hold of, especially as a breakfast item. The first thing in the morning, donuts. I mean, you're just asking for diabetes. You just might as well bring it on. So we want to always watch that. And there's a lot of homemade desserts that aren't too bad, and there's ways of making pies and things that aren't too bad. But still, one piece once in a while, you can get by with that, as long as you're eating a lot of other good foods the rest of the time. But when you're having pie after every meal, or some kind of dessert after every meal, is where it becomes a real problem. And even something simple, as we're talking about the hidden sources and hidden problems, like orange juice. Orange juice has a ton of sugar in it. And of course, when they take the juice out of the orange, it's very good. It's a good food. It's still got sugar in it, but it's still good. But when you want to sell it in the stores, they pasteurize it. They kill all the good minerals in it. They kill all the good enzymes in it, and they turn the minerals into a form the body can't absorb very well. So you're not getting much nutrition out of orange juice, better than a soda, but it's still nothing like you would think coming from a real orange. Vitamin C and things in there. The next one is 146 reasons why sugar is ruining your life and your health, well, your life too. And this just goes over all the different things. Basically, it's a list of the degenerative diseases that man has, and it comes from eating refined sugar. And this has been researched. It's very easy when you have a native population in a country, and then they're doing very well eating whatever stuff they eat, which can seem really weird to us, but they get along with it fine. And then the Western diet comes in, and all of a sudden they have cavities and all kind of problems and health issues because of all the sugar, refined flour, refined sugar going on. And again, it tastes great, but it's ruining their people's health because of this lack of nutrition. And again, people like the taste. It's habit forming, and it's really available. It's cheap. The ways of making it now are really cheap. You can get it anywhere, but there's some really bad forms, like high fructose corn syrup is the most common now, and that's probably the worst kind, hardest thing on the liver, really bad for the body. So again, the three big culprits are the refined sugar, refined flour, and refined vegetable oils. Those things, refined salt, I should say, refined sugar, refined salt, and the vegetable oils. Those are the really big problems. Refined flour, of course, is almost as bad because it's a carb. They've taken all the good minerals and things out of that too. So it's just as bad as the sugar. So a good thing to realize is the body has a taste for sugar, salt, and fats. And so that's just part of how our tongue works. And that was because in nature, the foods that people need taste that way. Your fruits have good sugars in them. Even your vegetables and things have good sugars. There's other ways of getting good salt in nature, and then good fats are something the body can use as an energy source too, plus all the oil-soluble vitamins and good fats. But the problem is manufacturers know how to work this against us, and they're using bad forms of sugar, bad fats that are cheap, and then lots of refined salt. And most refined foods or processed foods will have a lot of one or all of those, again, from these bad sources. Because the American palate, the American sweet tooth, has gotten so bad that these people have to do this just to sell their product. If they try to sell a healthy product, don't list it as a healthier product, then they're not going to be able to compete in the market. So that's why most all of your things, like this, it's, for example, a simple rich cracker, is just really sweet. If you don't have those for a long time and have one, it's just really sweet and really salty. So again, a lot of these processed foods are all about that kind of thing. So I think that's gives you a good idea of what we're thinking about here with the sugar and why it's good to try to avoid that. Now, I know that this is the holiday season coming out. We have all these good bakers and candy makers and things. And so I'm trying to talk people, I know that you're not going to be able to keep away from it totally, but how about just trying to have one piece just to taste it? And then not just eat divinity fudge all evening. Because you're just asking then, when you eat all that sugar, you're lowering your immunity, and you're asking for colds and flus and all this kind of stuff. So we're trying to get patients to just even think about that a little bit, rather than, like I said, just try a little bit so you have a taste, and then just get away from it. So I think that's about enough for me tonight. Don't forget, on our website you can sign up for our weekly newsletter. There's a lot of good videos to watch on our website. And you can also arrange a free consultation if you want to learn more about what we do in our office to help people actually be healthy. It's a lot different than the paradigm that your insurance pays for. We're working on trying to get the body to be healthy, not just treating symptoms. So a whole different paradigm here at Natural Health. So anyway, have a good evening. Hopefully we'll see you next week. That'll be our last one before Christmas. But if we don't see you, have a very Merry Christmas. Turn it over to Dr. Chip. Have a great evening. Thanks.
All right. So that was some good information from Dr. Mark about why sugar, why avoid sugar, hidden concerns. So again, we're going to keep the talk moving here, and again, keep the ball rolling. So yeah, I'm Dr. Chip, and we'll keep going. So like Dr. Mark explained, there's different forms of foods here, especially kind of the sugar intake. So we go from like processed versus unprocessed. Now, a lot of times that we typically think that sugar is, all around bad, but sometimes, again, it's really more about the context. Again, even like with language or English, different languages and all that, if we don't have the right context, then we can actually blow it out of proportion. And so the context is important, because if we have the good context here, then we know what's going on. And so not only with language, usage of all that, but where is sugar found in? Now, going to the process side here, we can see is that this is kind of more of your processed sugar. Again, like Dr. Mark explained there too, is that it's found in all these really high sugary foods. It's got a long shelf life. It's, again, just everything is taken out, the vitamins, minerals, all that. And so again, this is stuff that you don't really typically find in nature. You can see all these wildly different colors. That's the food or the color additives. But again, these are very appealing to the eye. And so when we, again, as you would say, species and all that, we typically we try to search for things that are appealing to us. And so when you see these bright colors here, this is typically something that we might kind of go for, because we think, hey, there's something to this. And again, too, is that, like he said, sugar, salts, and fats, that combination there, it's actually very, you would say, we really want it. We're kind of more craving for those different things. And so this is very typical for almost all animals out there. And so when something's very salty, you could say like, deer, salt block, all that, or sugary, you could say is that many different rodents out there, sugary foods, or even insects, all that. And then fats, again, that's kind of more of different ways that animals will eat the different foods there. So again, it's just kind of more of that whole context. Now, speaking of context, if you thought that sugar, again, was this good or bad thing, in this context, it might be a little bit more impactful on kind of impacting your health in a negative side, because it doesn't have the context of the minerals and vitamins with it. However, these foods are more found in nature. This is more of your unprocessed side. And so again, you can kind of see the raspberries, strawberries, cantaloupe, watermelon here and there, but those are the fruits that you typically find in nature. Now, of course, too, is that these are again, not good or bad foods. Typically, they have a good, good mineral content, good vitamin content, but they have different sugars in there. And so, for some people, when you're not able to adapt to so much sugar intake, when your pancreas is not working optimally or your insulin is high, then it's more appropriate not to at least be aware of these sugary foods. And so, again, back then, we didn't really typically have all these foods available to us throughout the whole year. You could say is that fruits were more found in the times when it was more tropical times, or you could say kind of during the fall when we have apples. This is kind of more Midwest here. But when, again, like the wintertime, springtime, all that, that's not when the fresh fruits were available. And so that's when, again, kind of get into that time where we're kind of bulking for the winter season to kind of survive the whole winter. That's kind of way back when. But now at times, again, we have all these foods available. And so we went from having all these kind of foods, just normal foods, available to us, which again, good foods. But then we got to even a further thing where we started to process all these different foods. We took out all the minerals and vitamins, again, prolonging that shelf life so that we can, again, have these all year round. And that's kind of what causes us to, that's one issue that can cause us to have different factors for infecting our health. And so the main thing is that we want to make sure to at least be aware of these things. And so again, it's getting into the holiday season. Okay, this is another good sugar example. And so this is a jar of honey, and you can see is that a lot of these foods, again, this is all kind of man-made. It's all taking minerals and vitamins out of the food. These are good fruits, good sugary fruits there. But when you think about honey, you can think about how much it takes to make honey. And all these bees working so hard to make the honey is actually very extraordinary. But again, the honey is a very good substitute for sugary, you would say, recipes and all that, because of all the minerals and vitamins that are in there. And so again, that actually is very welcoming for our bodies to intake. Now again, like we said, if you're at that level where you have higher insulin levels, your pancreas isn't working well, digestive system's not working well, then these sugary foods are not more applicable for you. But honey can be a very good alternative for those different things, and it's very good at, you would say, modulating different things too. Just because our bodies are able to intake that necessarily. Now, of course, you're not going to eat this whole jar in one sitting. You're going to add it to different things and all that to sweeten things, sweeten different foods. So again, it's more about that context that we need to be aware of. So again, going back to it, is that during the holiday season, we're going to have these foods. They're going to be there. Then again, it's okay that sometimes, again, going here and there. And again, if you don't have much health issues and all that, again, some of these foods might be okay because your body's able to take it in. But again, when we have too much or our bodies are unbalanced so far, that can cause some issues. Then again, we are not able to accept these as much. Then we have to come back to these or even, again, this. But they're all, again, not good or bad. It's just more that context. But the main thing, again, we're going back to it, is that during the holiday season, these foods are going to be there, sugary foods there. But when we start going so much from different, you would say, mindsets, we can actually help to kind of shift our way of going about things. So in the holidays, a lot of times we wanted to actually shoot for that gratification. That's because of these kind of foods here, because those foods are fulfilling some kind of feeling that we want to have. And so again, that's that gratification, that quick gratification. But again, when we're going back to more of the gratitude, being grateful for the holidays, the family and friends, seeing people, getting to have meaningful conversations, connecting with others. Again, you get to this part here, you're not so worried about all these different things here. And so when you get to that level or that mindset there, is that you tend to not be so demanding or so attracted to all of these foods. Now again, if you want some, you can have some, but again, it's not a make or break situation. And so again, now we can see that our attitude or mindset is important as we head into the holiday season, especially with all again the fun foods or fun sugary items there too. So again, something to keep in mind. So that is it for tonight's Health Shop. Again, you can always follow us at Natural Health Quincy IL at Facebook, YouTube, Radion, or Instagram. We are located at 2000 Jefferson Street in Quincy, Illinois. You can subscribe to our email list at naturalhealthquincy.com, and the number is 217-228-2040. So again, thank you so much for watching. I think we have one more Health Shop for this December month here before we finish off this year. And then next year we'll be implementing more of a different way or a different approach, having only one online health shop each month. Again, kind of more compacting all the elements there. But again, always trying to encourage other people for their own health and well-being, and that we're here to help you when you're, again, in need. So again, thank you so much and have a great rest of the week.